Greetings, Star Citizens, and welcome to Flight Deck. This is a weekly podcast about Star Citizen and other gamer culture topics. I'm your host, Linkstatic MDK, and with me, as always, is Paper Thin.
Hey guys.
All right, we have a couple of things to talk about this week. There's the REC, the rental equipment credits, and Arena Commander, 10 for the Chairman, episode 53, the Around the Verse, episode 31, and Chris Roberts speaking at 2015 Dice Summit. Couple of things that don't fit into one of those categories is recently on Monday, I want to say this week, they had some developers versus community dogfights that were going on. Unfortunately, I was busy, so I didn't get to partake.
Yeah, I was at
But
work.
yeah, oh well. Hopefully, they plan to do more though from the post that they had afterwards. So hopefully, I'll be free the next time that they do it, and I get to get my butt kicked or kick butt, one of the
Yeah,
two.
yeah, I'm right there with you. I like that they're doing it. It's fun.
Hmm.
And hopefully they'll do it more often. And it'd be cool if just the devs would just randomly do it sometimes, or maybe like
I'm sure
QA
they do,
guys.
actually. They probably
Yeah,
do.
I'm sure. And
Yeah.
QA guys would be like, "Hey, we want to test some stuff. Anybody that's playing the PTU, come fight us," or something
Right.
like that.
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
It's like anybody who's playing PTU that happens to be in an Avenger, come dogfight with us, or happens to be in a Hornet, come we want to see how this reacts.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, and then this week we also got the 300 series was test drivable, and we did some of
Yeah,
that on our Sunday stream. We tried out a couple of different of the 300 series. 350R seems so bugged right now. Like we were having trouble with the thrusters. It wouldn't fly. It wouldn't go fast. It was all messed up.
yeah. There's something not right there. I don't know
Ho-
what it is.
Hopefully it's fine on like the racing map, but like for the arena commander, it was just in the like free for all and Vandal co-op. It's not working right.
Yeah, I just can't imagine that it turns that god awful slow.
Well,
I mean,
there was something up with the thrust. Like it kept going
yeah,
negative and all. It was
yeah,
frustrating to say the least.
yeah. The rest of them flew pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, I did pretty well in the 315P, which surprises me. Like I didn't think that would be the go-to ship, the exploration version.
Yeah,
So
it's a good ship actually. That was the one I liked the most outside of the 325A.
yeah.
Although I don't really like the 325A very much, so that's not saying a lot.
Aw. Well, like the 325A I was okay with. Like I like the gun on the front for power, but it definitely seems to run out of ammo almost too quickly.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I'd put a repeater or I'd put a Vulcan cannon in the front instead of that mass driver, but that's just me.
I would too.
Yeah. So let's jump into the rec or rental equipment credits for Narita Commander. And for anybody who hasn't been paying attention to the forums or Reddit or in general, there's been, how do we want to word this? Drama? We'll go with drama. That's
To
probably the
say the
nicest
least.
word we could use. Yeah.
Yeah, this has probably caused the most drama out of anything.
Recently, anyway.
Yeah, anything that I can even think of.
Well,
But let's get into it. Let's talk about it, and
yeah.
then we'll
All right.
maybe we'll
So
cover the drama.
what is rental equipment credits? Essentially, it's going to be a virtual currency that you can use to spend on items in Voyager Direct or through your MobiGlass. So, with this virtual currency, you'll be able to buy new ships or upgraded weapons or shields or what have you. Anything that's available that you can purchase in game, essentially.
Right.
Um, well, and how do you get it? So the way you get it, at least so far that they've got it planned out, is you're going to be getting it by playing ranked matches in Arena Commander. So that could be FPS matches when they drop out, squadron battle, racing, capture the core, battle royale, and you'll also be able to earn additional art rental equipment credits by earning medals and reaching certain milestones. So let's say you've voided 50 missiles, you get REC credits. You've
Right.
killed 10 people, you get REC credits. You've done 500 laps and I would
Right.
not, I'll probably never get that one, but the point is, you know,
Right.
that's how you get REC credits. And those are kind of going to, those credits and the amount are going to be based on essentially how many players are in the match and the total amount of points are scored. So, like, if it's only you and one other guy, you're not going to get as many credits dished out as it would be for, say, 10 people playing all at the same time.
Right. And that all seems to make sense to me. I mean, obviously, I'd like to get a little something something for playing some
Something,
co-op,
something. Yeah.
but I understand that. I understand the reasoning why they didn't do that. So I'm
Yeah.
not complaining.
Well, and I don't know. I'm torn. Like I would love. It shouldn't be as much as you get in player matches. That's for
I agree
sure.
with that. Yeah.
It should not be. The skill level is nowhere near comparable. But I still think you should get something.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah. So the price on all the items that you're going to be buying with these credits are they're saying roughly around 10% of what the United Earth credit price is that they have on the website. So if something's like $100, it would be essentially 10 REC, you know.
Right.
So, it's a lot more reduced, but also you're not paying actual money for it. You're just paying what you got for in-game currency. And then if you want to renew it for a follow-up week, and I guess that's something we should talk about first, is the fact that you're not actually purchasing these permanently, you're renting them for a week at a time in real life.
Yep.
So,
And they're only for Arena Commander.
yeah, only for Arena Commander, only for a week at a time, and everybody seems to be, that's the issue that's causing the hang-ups and the drama and the I want to QQ and write in all caps on the message boards.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, yeah, Chris had to come out on the forums and write two pretty lengthy posts as follow-ups to this, and I thought it was weird. Like one of the things that people were actually mad about with this was that Chris's first post
mhm.
that he put on the forums like came off, I guess, as kind of salty or kind of condescending, and I didn't get that at all when I read it because I was like,
It's
he's
hard to
just
tell tone when people write.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, and I don't know, maybe it's just I'm used to British kind of
Writing?
slang and dialogue. Yeah, exactly. So like I'm
Well,
like it didn't come off to me like that. It just kind of came off as
well, I mean, when
guys,
when
calm
you
down.
read "You're amazing," it's either "You're amazing" or "You're amazing."
Right.
It's you can't
Exactly.
really tell
Right.
sarcasm and stuff like that well when you're reading it. So
Exactly. But his second
that's why
post
God
was
invented emoticons.
yeah, seriously. And he actually used an emoticon in his second post. That's funny.
Oh
Uh
God,
but his second post was much more detailed with what they were thinking and
right?
really cleared up a lot of the questions people had. So
Yeah.
anyway, let's continue on.
Continuing on, well, and then after that first week of purchase, they're letting you do a renewal of whatever you purchase. So if you bought, like, for example, a gun for your ship, you can renew it for a second week at about 20% discount of the cost that you paid for the first time. So, I think
That's pretty
that's
reasonable.
fair. And,
Yep.
let's say you were busy the first week unexpectedly and you want to play with it some more and try it out longer, they're giving you a chance to. So, there you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So the amount of time that you have whatever you purchase for, just to keep it like available to you, they're putting it in a couple of places. They're going to have it on your RSI account on the website. Plus, when they revamp the Holo table, which we'll talk about in a little bit, they're also going to have a timer there showing how long the item will remain for as well. So.
Yep. Wait, Hollow Table revamp.
What? Oh my
Oh
God!
my god. All right,
We're
we'll talk
getting
about
to
it
it
later.
later. We're
I
getting to
know.
it later.
Well, all right. I had to contain my excitement a little.
Yeah, well, somebody get you a tissue so you can stop dripping up all those tears of joy. God. All right. So we already mentioned this. You can use the rented ships in Arena Commander, and that includes all the non-rented game modes. So, for example, Vandal Swarm Co-op. So anything that you want to try out, you don't necessarily have to use right away in the against people. You can try it out against the AI and see how it works there before you bring it into a match.
Yep.
Um, you can also, with REC, it's not just, oh, I'm going to be buying stuff now. You can also donate it to what they're calling a community chest, which is going to essentially be used for sponsoring community events. So let's say they have a benchmark of 1 million REC. I'm sure it's going to be much more than this, by the way.
Right.
We'll just say it's 1 million REC, and once we reach that in the community chance, we're going to have a special event that lasts for 2 weeks. So could be something like, you know, capture the Idris, but the Idris is crewed by all Vandals, or you know, now
Right.
you can do racing mode, but we're going to enable weapons so you can shoot at each other. Whatever they
Ooh,
decide to come up with.
that'd be a good one. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I was thinking about this earlier today, if you can't tell.
I could tell. A,
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool idea.
Mm.
B, incoming lawsuit from Parker Brothers.
Oh,
Like, I don't know. I would assume the copyright's like expired on like Monopoly terms, for like, right? Like
I don't
that
know.
game's old.
I
Game
don't
is
know.
old.
We'll
I'm just
we'll pretend. Community chest is a general term. It's not a,
yeah,
yeah.
totally not stolen from Monopoly or
Yeah.
anything.
So, that sounds fun and interesting, and I like that they're thinking of multiple uses for in-game currency like that beyond just, oh, you collect crap.
Right.
I hope they even come up with more eventually than just those two, but this is good to start. I'm fairly happy with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Um, so all this equipment that you guys are going to be collecting and EPing over and joygasming and whatever other nerdgasming terms, essentially will not carry over to the persistent universe. So you could have the most badass loadout in Arena Commander. Doesn't really matter. You got to earn that stuff in the persistent universe if you want to use it there. So I,
Makes perfect sense.
I am 1010% behind that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I'm sure I'm going to have a ton of UREC credits myself by the time the PU drops. I don't want to then have easy mode and I decide to buy a Javelin Destroyer with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Okay.
I want to have a Bengal carrier for a week, so I'm gonna save all my REC and
You buy a Bengal, you fully crew it, you've
yeah.
then decide to use that to assault a pirate base and capture like 50 ships that you then get to keep after your week's done.
Yeah, right. That's not totally unfair at all.
I'm fine with all of these things so long as I'm the one benefiting from them. Yeah.
Yes.
So they did give some reasons as to why they're not going to allow items to be permanent that you purchase through the REC system. So let's talk about those a little bit. And for the most part, I in general agree with these reasons that they gave.
Right.
So the first reason was Arena Commander progression is not persistent universe progression. Like it shouldn't matter how good you are at Arena Commander to get persistent universe rewards. If you think about it, I like to think about Arena Commander as kind of like the World of Warcraft or the League of Legends of the Star Citizen universe. It's what people do for entertainment.
Right.
It's not
Exactly.
it's not the actual day-to-day living. So it doesn't make sense that stuff you do for entertainment would all of a sudden translate into a ridiculously lavish lifestyle unless, you're a pro and you go to tournaments and stuff. Still,
Well,
for
yeah,
the
that's a good.
average person.
That actually brings up an interesting question. Like let's say you're really good at Arena Commander,
But you
and
suck in the
like,
persistent universe.
well,
Right.
but
You haven't
but
done
the
it.
persistent universe is going to be a different beast.
Right.
So like, people like watch you play and like, watch your streams or watch your replays or whatever.
Right.
Like maybe you can make a little UAC doing that. I don't think you make a lot. Like obviously, professional gamers don't for the most part make a lot of money
No, they
days
just make
as it
enough
is.
to maintain their habit of professional gaming.
Unless you're the best of the best. I mean, the best StarCraft players in the world at best used to make like 250 to $300,000 a year.
Well,
And those
mm,
like that's like flash.
frankly speaking, it's not sustainable, which is why so many of them go into commentating and stuff like that too, and like
Right.
marketing themselves.
Right, or start their own like gaming
Yeah,
companies or competitive gaming groups or whatever. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So,
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like there's going to be a place for Arena Commander, and it's definitely going to be a location to have those dream matchups between
Yeah.
groups of people. But at the same time, it's also kind of I don't want it to turn into the focus of the game.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Second reason they gave was to buffer against exploits. So they're saying, let's say somebody does figure out a way to game the system and make a ton of cash or do whatever. The fact that they're limiting them to only having whatever they purchase for a week is going to kind of help push away a lot of that griefing and crap that comes along with it.
Yep,
So
and
at
that
worst, they can mess with you for a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, that 100% makes sense because you know there's going to be people who are going to try to grief this as and
Oh,
exploit this.
immediately.
Yeah,
Like if you have a bunch of friends and you all have Super Hornets with full loadouts, you're just gonna keep queuing up together on the same team in squadron
right.
battle, and getting a ton of cash.
Exactly.
Well, and then third reason they gave was it's a rough draft for future balancing goals. So getting an idea of what people like to purchase and what they're going to be spending their time and money on will help them later in the long run when they're doing this stuff for the PU, which makes total sense.
Yep.
There you go. Self-explanatory.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
and then they're also going to have sales to encourage players to buy specific items, which should also help them for player testing. So, for example, let's say they come out with a gun, but it doesn't seem like many people have purchased it because it's either too expensive or the rate of fire is not that great. All of a sudden, it could have like an 80% sale. Everybody buys it to try it out, and they get a lot of data. So, it makes
Right, because
sense.
I felt like in the past, like people have felt like certain guns aren't as good as they might actually be. Like there are times where I thought the neutron cannon wasn't that bad, and people thought it was absolute garbage, and things like that. So I'd like to see stuff like this where they're like, here, this gun is dirt cheap, just put it on your ship and try it, and like actually see if it's good, or instead of just listening to like a few people who complain about it.
Yeah. Well, in general, there's going to be so many of those things where it's like I never would have spent the money
Right.
or effort to try and unlock it, but if I can spend like 100 REC credits on it, I'll get it in a heartbeat just to try it.
Exactly.
Well, and then we also have the last of their reasons was it presents it keeps
It,
I don't know what I'm reading my note and my note makes no sense. It's a really bad note, guys. Like you have
Hang
no
in
idea.
there.
I'm sure there's a type. It prevents is I think what I was going for. Stagnation during alpha. So that makes tons of sense because there's no way you can then have everything unlocked all at the same time. Unless
Right.
you just never spend any of your money and then once you get enough to literally buy everything, you know. But even then that's going to take you forever.
Right. Yeah, I'm right
So,
there with you. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, so since we're almost to the end of this stuff, like we could talk a little bit more about the QQ that's going on here.
yeah.
Like one of the bigger complaints that people had was that they thought this was very similar to a lot of Korean MMOs. I don't know if you've ever played any of them.
Well,
I've played a few.
we've played a few Korean games. Like we played Archblade. We played
Oh yeah,
ZMR is kind of Korean style with their
it is.
purchase system. So
Yeah, you're right. Zombies,
yeah,
Monsters, Robots is similar. And I've played like Gunbound and a golf game called Golf Star, where you can't really purchase things permanently with in-game cash. You have to use real money. And so, but the thing like people don't get is, okay, so yeah, there's the in-game part where you can only rent it for so long, but there's no like, yeah, you could spend real money to buy the items, but it's not. It's just for Arena Commander. This isn't gonna matter in
yeah,
the persistent universe.
yeah.
It's not for the real game. It's for testing the game.
Like if you want to have the stuff, then buy it for the PU. And if anything, you should be super excited because this is giving you the option of trying stuff before you have to purchase it. This is
Exactly.
like the thing that we've been begging for forever.
Yes.
And like it's I don't get it. I don't get the complaints. Like they just want everything free. That's what they want. They want
Yep.
everything free so they can try it all out. Tough. You have to earn it.
And
QQ,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's not even fun to just give me everything for free in a way. Like, yeah, I'd be fine with it. I wouldn't complain,
Hmm.
but I also would kind of get bored with it pretty quick. I'd be like, well,
Well, now
I've
I've
tried
got
every
everything.
ship.
There's nothing to
Right.
do. Yeah.
Exactly.
Whereas this system at least keeps you constantly playing if you want to keep constantly trying new stuff.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it's really smart to go this route. I would have
Right.
been severely disappointed if you could earn it permanently, frankly. Because once you get everything, what's the point?
Yep. I'm just right there with you. I don't know what else to say. I think this makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, I don't want to see any kind of real pay to win in the persistent universe, and from what everything they've said, it doesn't sound like there's going to be.
Well,
Things are going to be reasonably priced. Insurance isn't going to be super expensive.
here's the problem. This isn't going to be a pay to win game. Let's say you've spent the total amount of money necessary to buy every single thing and like 20 versions of it, so you can fully load out any ship any way you want, right?
Right.
If you suck, you're gonna lose to the Aurora pilot with the stock stuff. You know,
Yep.
is it's just the way it is. This is a skill based game. Yeah, you can get advantages with gear. Yeah, you can get advantages with ships. But it's when it comes down to it, end of the day, it's gonna be skill and intelligence that wins it for you.
Yep. Exactly.
So.
100%.
I don't I feel like typing in all caps now in like a giant long forum post. That seems to be the trend lately.
Yeah. Join the hate bandwagon, except you're on like the
I'm
other
on the other
side of
side of it, yeah.
it.
Oh man. Well, one other thing that they actually mentioned about RC was the daily challenges, which sound like a good idea and at the same time like a bad idea. Because I always hate daily challenges because it makes me
Yeah.
like go out of my way to do stuff I don't necessarily want to do just to get the challenge.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's good because then when it coincides, I'm like, yay, bonus money. So
Right. I
what?
mean, I remember
Yeah,
playing Halo Reach, and it got to the point where I started playing Halo Reach just to get the challenges,
complete like
because
25 waves of firefight or whatever it was. I hated that one.
exactly, and yeah, and it'd be like, all right, we're playing Firefight all night tonight, and it's
It's
like
like I don't
that's
want to
not
play
really
firefight.
right.
I want to
I
play
want to
Team
play
Slayer.
right. I like playing a couple games of Firefight,
Oh yeah,
but you want me to do what? God dang it! All
yeah.
right, you want me to get how many melee kills? All right, guess I'm not shooting my gun much this in these matches. Just going for butt strokes on kids. Like
Actually, sometimes
Jesus,
that's funny
it is funny. It is.
because
You're right.
everybody's going for the same achievement.
Yeah,
So
like
there's like not a shot fired. Everybody's just trying to melee each other to death. Oh man.
but yeah, yeah. As long as like I'm okay with the dailies, as long as they don't interfere too much with the overall objective of winning whatever you're doing.
Right.
So
We'll see what happens.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, and then we also talked about the community chest a bit, so that
yeah.
everybody's kind of got an idea now. So, I will say the best video title I've seen so far regarding this was on Reddit, and I think you mentioned it to me the other day as well. It was the "You better check yourself before you wreck yourself" or something.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Oh,
I
it was
can't
so
remember what
clever.
it
It
was
made me
now.
laugh so hard.
That was a really good podcast title. I'll have to find it.
I
And
did listen to a bit of it, so it was a good grab your attention title because I'm like, oh, I gotta listen to it now. I mean, come
yeah,
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. I was like, dang it, they stole like something I was kind
We
of
wanted
thinking of.
that title.
I know, I know. It's all right. We'll have a good one. We have a good one planned for this one. So take that,
Take that,
other
subspace.
podcast.
We were going for different quotes there, I feel. All
We
right.
were. We really were.
Let's move on to 10 for the Chairman, episode 53, or as I like to call it, the San Holo meme.
Yes. Explain this
So,
so our viewers know.
while Chris Roberts was answering a question on this 10 for the Chairman, he was mentioning Star Wars and how much he loves the characters in it, and he mentioned San Holo and Chewbacca, and he's like as soon as he said it, like he stopped himself and he corrected himself, but it was too late at that point. It has become a meme. If you go on Reddit, there's a couple of posts of people with like Chris Roberts' picture and like San Holo and flashing letters and crap like that. I think I saw a couple forum posts about San Holo too. So
I mean, it almost sounds like it's like Han Solo's like bastard cousin or something.
well,
You
like
know?
I feel like they should make San Holo now a character that you can deal with, like a smuggler character in Star Citizen.
Oh, that would
Like
be great.
I would love that. Like you're going along and you see San Holo with um Millennium Malkin or so, you know, and his first mate Baka Chew or something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, and it'd be great if you like piss him off and he starts shooting at you before you shoot him.
Damn it! Why does this always happen? Yeah.
Especially if you're a green person.
So let's
All right.
enough about that. Let's move. Enough racism towards green people. God,
Yeah.
they get no respect. All right, so let's move to the individual questions actually asked during this one. So the first question up was essentially it was about organizations sharing ships and like reputation and how that's going to work. So let's say me, Link, gives Paper my Redeemer to fly around in, and then Paper, because he's a crazy SOB, decides to attack a defenseless orphanage of children and kill them all. Well, I'm only using a real world example that will probably
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
So what would happen is me as being the owner of said ship would then have potential issues with my reputation. Obviously, like he'll have his own issues, but since it was my ship, I would then also have a detrimental hit to my reputation. Was essentially the way it sounds like it will work. It sounds like they're messing with it, but that was kind of the gist he was getting at.
Well, so A, those kids had it coming. B, it
They
kind
were
of
all
makes
green,
sense,
right?
right? It kind of makes sense because I mean, if you think about it, like if you like, I don't know, if you're a car dealership and you rent a car to someone and they go and like, run a bunch of people over GTA style,
Right.
like yeah, your dealership's gonna take a hit with its reputation.
Yeah.
Like not, and it's not your fault, but you still, it's a consequence regardless. It's just a
Yeah.
risk you take. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I thought this made a lot of sense, and I thought it was a pretty good question too.
I feel like your reputation should definitely take the bigger hit if you're the one flying it.
Oh yeah,
That said, yeah, if they're lending you a ship to do that stuff in, they should have reputation hits themselves, even if they didn't
I
know you were going to do it.
yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Yeah. Second question was customizing shared ships. So let's say I lend you said ship. Again, we'll say my Redeemer, and then you want to upgrade the shields or the turrets or the missiles or whatever, and you put in your components for it. Yeah, you should totally be able to do that. You have got a ship, you should be able to customize it, right?
Right.
Um, but it sounds like when I finally get that ship back and you return it to me, it's not going to have those upgrades on it. It's going to have whatever it originally had when I gave it to you. So
Yeah,
I,
and that
I
makes
think that
sense.
that's fair and makes sense and it's good. That said, if I wanted to keep it, I would just offer to trade you for whatever the upgrades were that you put
True
on and
that.
then put them on myself, you know.
Yeah, if you like see me like come back like with like a big chest of gold, you'll be like, wait, what? What you want? I'll buy those guns from you.
Yeah.
I want those. Yeah,
Uh,
I think this is pretty cool. Yeah.
oh, you've got Borg shielding on my Redeemer and it's not even a Star Trek game? I'll buy it. Yeah, cool. Why not?
Exactly.
Well, and then third question, we had persistent universe mission scaling. So the question was wondering if I accept a mission solo, or if I do the mission with my friends who are all elite level badasses, will the mission scale depending on how many of us there are and all of that? And essentially, yeah, it will. It does depend on the mission type that you go on, the general skill level of the people in the group, and the total number of people in the group. Um, so
Yep.
that's great to me. Like, I don't want it to be, oh, we can just barrel through everything because we're accepting single player missions with 5 people or something, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's good. I think there's going to be it sound from what I kind of interpreted from what he said, it sounds like this is mostly going to be the case, but at the same time there are going to be some missions that are obviously meant for like one person
Right. Yeah.
or you know, uh, there's no reason for you to bring like 10 people to do this mission that one person could actually do.
But
So you won't get as much not experience because that won't be a thing in this game, but you won't get as much reward.
swag.
Yeah, swag from it.
Swag is the term
So
I've been going with lately.
I like it.
Yeah.
And so that makes a lot of sense. And I think I'm assuming it'll be pretty obvious for
Yeah.
the missions that this will affect.
Yeah. Well, and then going along with doing missions and running around the verse, you also have salvaging shipwrecks. So,
Yes.
unbeknownst to you, you hyper into, I say hyper, I mean like jump in or quantum drive in to a area of space where there is a battle going on and battle ends and there's a bunch of derelict ship hulks. Can you just run up to them and then, take them all regardless of if they're people ships or NPC ships or whatever?
Right.
Um, it, essentially depends on the encounter. Like they're trying to make it smart enough so that you can't game the system and have your friend just run around killing people and take all the stuff that he leaves behind.
Yep.
Um, but at the same time, they're probably going to add timers to the Hulk, so it's you can't like salvage it right away. You like give them a chance to get back to their ship and resalvage it and all that stuff,
Right.
which makes sense. Like,
Yep.
yeah. At the same time, I totally look forward to doing salvaging, so I hope it's not terribly hard.
Yeah, I don't think they'll give you a ton of time to do it, and I'm assuming it'll be fairly difficult to do it. Just because like you have to get in another ship, and God only knows where you started from and where you
Right.
respawn at, and all that kind of stuff. So,
Well, and given how complex they've made mining, I don't think salvaging will necessarily be that easy to do once you're there.
right,
So, should be cool. Well, and then they have persistent universe instant stalking. So, how will it work if I'm trying to track somebody and they keep moving from sector to sector? Will I be thrown to an instance that they're not in and not even be able to interact with them, etc.? And this is kind of where that person of interest list comes into play. So they're going to try and set it up so that people on your person of interest list or your friends list or your org list will be kind of the first people that you're thrown in with. And then they'll have slots available for like randos beyond that.
right.
So,
And I thought this was a pretty cool like expansion on what we had already talked about in the past with the person of interest stuff and that kind of thing. So it's really interesting, like how complicated like tagging people and how necessary it's going to be. Like
oh
you can't
yeah.
just like if people interact with you, you pretty much need to tag them to make sure you know who the heck they are and make the game more interesting for yourself. Be
Well,
like, this person wants to fuck with my shit, so I need to mark them as an
Mark
enemy.
him is bad. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and one thing I liked from the Glass screenshots I had is you could put like little descriptions on people too. Like this guy ripped me off. This guy, you know, was great, for this reason. So
Right.
eventually you meet enough people and you got enough people on your list, you'll be able to like go, oh, this guy I know is really good for trading materials with. This guy I know is a really good pilot, that type of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then we also have large ship instancing, which I think was the most interesting question to me.
Yeah.
Um, so if you have a large ship, let's say you've got a Bengal carrier or you're on a space station or what have you, it's not going to be instanced in many places. It's only going to be in one instance. So what they mean by that is, let's say you're in orbit of Earth, there's not 100 Bengal carriers in orbit of Earth, there's only one Bengal carrier in orbit of Earth. So that's only the one location where people are going to be able to interact with that ship.
Yep.
Which is great because then you don't have like having to defend from 9 million different fights all at the same time. It's only one instance you're ever having to worry about for that.
Yeah, the interesting thing that comes up with this is then, well, if there's 30 large orgs going after the three Bengal carriers, who gets precedence and why. And the other thing I'm concerned with is, uh, it sounds like they're hoping to be able to have 100 people per instance, but they're not even sure that's going to be possible.
Which
So
makes the larger ships skeptical on how they're going to work then, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So that starts to that this
Yeah.
question, while a great question, his answer concerned me.
Not so great, yeah. Well, like
Yeah.
I thought they had said previously it wasn't going to be 100 people, it was going to be 100 ships, you know.
No, it's 100 like players.
So
Uh, so maybe I don't know if that includes NPCs or not.
hopefully it does, because otherwise you're going to have like a Bengal carrier and a javelin destroyer, and then you can't fit anything else there, you know.
Right, and that's boring. Like that's a really boring fight.
Yeah, the Bengal wins. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like okay. That-
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
I don't need giant fleet battles, but I do need fleet battles.
Yep.
It
Yep.
can't all be squadron on squadron. Granted, that's going to be fun and probably the most interesting, but you still need that moment where you've got the two Javelin destroyers hypering in to take out the Bengal carrier.
Right. Exactly.
Ugh.
Yeah. So they're gonna have some work to do, and I have confidence that they can achieve this. I mean, they're
Yeah. It
They're
might not
they're
be right away, but hopefully eventually we'll get some nice stuff
yes,
like that.
exactly.
Hopefully they figure it out. Like, I'm done. I'm moving on. I don't even want to talk about it
That's
because,
way off in the
yeah,
future.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then we also have NPCs and jump points. How is that going to work? Like, will they have to fly the jump point? Blah blah blah. Essentially, he went into how the system works and how the only time like NPCs really matter to you is when they're in the same instance as you and you're directly interacting. Otherwise, they kind of disappear into a whole other AI resolution matrix that they have built up where it will handle all these various like millions of simulations with all these millions of actors and give them probabilities like okay, 60% chance that the pirates stumble across this transport, 35% chance that they manage to disable it or destroy it, that type of thing. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. And we'll
Oh,
also
that's
get,
pretty cool.
we apparently get like snapshots of those probabilities. So when we're interacting with it, so we are flying through a system and we have a 40% chance of stumbling upon the transport that's delivering goods. So we fly through the system and then, we happen upon that transport. And
Right.
then we have a 60% chance of being attacked by pirates or the transport being attacked by pirates. And we luck out and, oh, look, it's getting attacked by pirates too. So that's the snapshot that it pulls down from this matrix to interact with us and then translates to in-game actual content.
Yeah, I really liked this. I thought it was really cool. I think it'll make the play very diverse. And you'll always have to be on your toes because you never know what the heck's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those things where it's like minding my own business, I'm flying along. Oh fuck! No, 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 no! Run away! It's not like WoW, where I could like jump on a flight point and then like go and get a drink or go to the
Right.
bathroom or something like that. It's like I need to have like all that stuff here
Right.
and ready to go because who knows when I could get attacked at any time.
Exactly. You got to be ready
Yeah,
at all times.
yeah. There's gonna be moments where I'm like sitting there, browsing Reddit. I look over at the other screen, going, "Oh no, no!" Jumping back in
Wait,
game.
I'll tab. I'll
I'll
tab.
tab back. No. Yeah. Well, and then you also have planet-side bounties. People were worried that essentially they wouldn't be able to ever collect bounties. They'd always have to be going into space or going to a space station or attacking a ship in order to grab a bounty off of a person. And he's like, no, we're gonna have places on planets where you can have encounters like that and have a gun battle on the planet or whatever. So I felt like they already talked about that a bit. So
Yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense.
I never know when they grab these questions because it's like I often see questions where they've already previously answered stuff, and you'd figure if you're a subscriber, you know what's going on. But who
Yeah,
knows when they made this question? Like it could have been before that town hall.
that's true. Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah. Well, and then next question was about Moby Glass placement, where it's currently on the left arm, and he's like, well, what if I'm left-handed? I want it on my right arm. Essentially, well, tough. It's going to be on the left arm.
Yeah.
Eventually we'll do the right arm when we get to it, but it's going to be on the left arm, so suck it up.
Right. This was kind of one of those. Well, it'd be nice to have it, but there's actually a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes that you don't
Yeah.
realize to make that happen. There's a ton of stuff that needs to happen.
Well, especially with this Moby Glass one, it's got a hollow projector and all that
Yep.
crap too. Man, ugh.
Yep. And you have to have the character animation and all that stuff.
Plus, it's all
Just
visible externally too, guys. It's got to
right.
be visible everywhere.
Right. Just be patient.
Yeah. Well, and then after that, we had multiple game packages and NPCs. This has been previously talked about, where
Yes.
again it was mentioned in the town hall, and again we have a subscriber question. So I don't know, like, what's going on here, guys. Do a little,
Yeah, I think it was even mentioned before the town hall. To be
yeah,
honest, like I feel like we talked about it before that.
yeah. And this is where the San Holo meme came into play. If people wanna, it's the last question of the video. So if you want to be part of Star Citizen history and know your memes, then watch this question and listen to the San Holo answer.
Yes, something like that. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
yeah NPCs. Yeah, so if you have multiple
Game.
packages.
Mm,
You can create NPCs that you can sometimes jump into. Otherwise, you can have them be your crew,
yep.
but you still got to pay them.
Yep.
So
There you
I
go.
don't know. Yep, there you go.
Although, I would say the most exciting thing I got out of 10 for the chairman actually happened after he was done asking questions. It was just talking. Because he kind of totally said that, the FPS module is coming out at the end of next month in the video. I didn't hallucinate that, right?
No, you did not.
Uh,
And oh my God, yes,
I,
that awesome.
I might have girl screamed or squeed. What's it? It's squeed. Yeah,
Squeed. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the term.
That's the term. I
Yeah.
might have had a reaction of that nature, which is not manually and will not be repeated with recording equipment active.
Yes, there was much fist pumping and other things going on when he said that. I was very very happy. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't expect it to actually come out until April, but that being said, even then, I'm still so looking forward to the FPS module.
You
Just
know, when,
awesome.
when I started loving and getting into Star Citizen, I thought it was going to be 100% dogfighting, and I loved it then. And then as soon as they were like, oh, we're also going to have FPS, I'm like, what? I'm not going to play anything else now.
Right.
I'm not going to have that game I go to. It's going to be like, oh, I'm bored flying? Okay, I'll just FPS for a day or two?
Right. The only thing this game isn't going to have available to you is
Chess.
turn-based strategy. That's it.
Oh man,
That is it.
I love that we have the same mindset. Turn-based strategy. I like chess.
Yeah, exactly. There's no turn-based chess.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's all real time. You could play it like, it's gonna play a lot like Planet Side at sometimes where
yeah.
you're running groups of people and doing that kind of thing, but still you have to be tactical and strategic. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Wow, I'm
Oh
just
my
like,
god! Oh my god!
oh my god,
Oh my god!
so excited.
Oh
All
my
right,
god, you guys!
let's move on. Around the verse, 31.
All right,
Go.
round the verse 31. Actually, this one had a really cool format that they did this time. At least I felt. So they started out with kind of like this fake in-universe newscast called the Empire Report, which has some elements that kind of tie into their Empire Report story that they posted on the website.
Yeah.
So, it was Sandy and a guy whose name I don't remember and don't really recognize. So sorry, guy. Pretending to be news reporters talking about in-universe news for the first like minute and a half, which I was like, oh, this is such a great idea. They should do this more often.
Yeah, I liked it. I
Hmm.
did too. Yeah.
And then it opens to, Ben Lesnick and Sandy Gardner in their normal format where they're sitting at a table, and Ben gave Sandy the Valentine of their MPV guy, whose name I also
Uh,
forget right now.
yeah.
Of him like sitting on this table with like a rose in his mouth and all this. It was really hilarious. And you could see the terror in Sandy's eyes when she saw that picture. It was like, oh my God, help me, get me out of here, blink twice if you need to be rescued type look.
Yeah, it was a very draw me like one of your French girls pose that the guy put up, and it was frankly I was right there with Sandy. I'm like, oh man, come on.
That's it. I thought it was hilarious.
It was really funny.
Oh man.
It was really funny.
Let's move on to actual content now.
Oh, good.
So some of the things they mentioned was the shield skins and the tarantula and the tarantula gun, whatever the hell, I forget what
Yeah,
it's called. But that was,
yeah,
that was all in the store. We talked about that last week. Then the shield generator deep dive document, which we also talked about last week. If you want more information on that. Also, they have their January report, which is on the site, which details everything they worked on in January. So check that out. And then the upcoming events, we had PAX and South by Southwest. Tickets are still up, so if you want to go to either of those events, make sure you pick up a ticket before they run out. I didn't look at the count, so I don't know how many are left.
yeah. I'm not going to either, so I don't care.
Yeah,
Sorry,
sorry. We'll
sorry,
watch
not
them.
sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, we'll watch them online. Then they had the CIG US developers versus community, which we talked about, which happened on Monday. Then they also did an RSI museum where they essentially were interviewing other games. This one was Ultima Underworld. Not going to talk about that. Sorry, it's
Nope.
not Star Citizen related, so don't really care about it for Star Citizen news. Cool game.
Yep.
Check it out. You know, not our
Yeah, if you're into that
podcast.
thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then in actual Star Citizen news that's new, it sounds like they're reworking the Constellation. They're doing a full rework of the ship, and currently they are working on the bottom turret. which cool because they need to make
Yeah,
that flyable so I can gun for you.
I know. This is only like the fourth rework of the Constellation.
It's fine so long as it eventually gets done and is
No,
baller when
I
you can
know.
fly it, you know?
I'm totally fine with it. It doesn't matter since you can't fly it anyway, so
Yeah.
it's totally fine.
Then the Vanguard is in concept phase. Their white boxing's done, so that's cool. The
Yeah,
Orion is also has its white boxing completed, so its concept's being done.
nice, nice.
Yep. Along with the Constellation, the P-52 Merlin is being remodeled and refined. Apparently, it looks
That's
really
yeah,
cool. So
that's good because the first model looked kind of weird in my opinion.
it was ugly. I'm not gonna be as nice. It
Yeah,
was ugly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
bluntness is basically what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's what I'm here for. Then they had the character rig and model are being updated. Characters are being retested to make sure they fit right in all these various ship updates. So, they sit in the chair correctly? Do they stand and walk correctly? That type of thing.
Right.
Then their tutorial. Well, this actual next part is their one thing they did on this format, which I really appreciated, was they kind of went to all the different development studios, and okay, a couple of people from each development studio talk about what you've been working on in that development studio, which
Yeah.
it alters the format, gives you a lot more personality because it's different people. I liked it. Do more of that to make it less than whole time Sandy and Ben because there's only so much you can be on, at a
Right.
time. And when you've got a long format like this, where you're showing all these different parts and giving this news style segment, it helps to break it up. That's why you have reporters out and about in,
Yeah.
CNN and Fox. It breaks up the segment and it gives a different perspective.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I really liked this too, um, and even beyond just it breaking it up and making it feel more fresh and
Hmm.
interesting was that their perspectives were a little more nuanced than just them like giving Ben a two-sentence thing to read.
Right,
You
because
know
they're the
they
ones working on it.
Yeah, exactly, and I like this a lot.
Hmm.
So
I hope they continue. Like, this is my favorite around the verse they've done. I'm just gonna say
yeah,
it. Like, this is
yeah.
the best format of all of them.
Except for
Um,
Bug Smashers. What? I'm sorry, I didn't say anything.
so, with that going along, one of the things they talked about was the tutorial level, which sounds like it's going to be pretty fun and cool, actually. With the tutorial level, they're also working on some landing mechanics. So they're actually going to have a hangar in the asteroids and
Yeah,
like multiple different types of landing styles that you can perform, like straight on landing, hover landing, docking, all of that. So cool, and I think we should
awesome.
totally try that out as soon as
Oh
it
yeah,
happens.
absolutely.
The Shubin is being worked on, which is full interior gray box has been done. Which Shubin I think is that one station or
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those. It's either a planet or a station. I forget which. Um,
Pretty sure it's a station. I'm pretty sure it's a space station. I thought. I
yeah.
could be totally wrong. Oh god, if I'm wrong, just let me know in the comments right away. Just rip the band-aid off.
There-
Just
I'm sure people will tell you you're wrong. I do it enough. Oh,
oh no.
uh,
What?
what?
I,
Shots fired. It's on. All right. Then they cut to Ilphonic, where they talked about the FPS module is coming soon, and some really cool information about the FPS module. Again, was they have an armor system they put in place with three types of armor: light, medium, and heavy. And then with that type of armor, they're going to have types of damage for guns that will vary based on the armor type. So this gun will not penetrate the heavy armor as well as it does medium or light, and so forth. And it will look different when it impacts, etc.
right.
Which made me
There.
go, yes.
Yeah, I mean, with the types of shields, the type of armor, the type of weapons, and how they all affect each other, this game is becoming much more than rock paper scissors, kind of like it is now.
Rock, paper,
It's
scissors, lizard, Spock,
it's
shotgun, Cheney, nuclear missile.
yeah, exactly. It's gonna be crazy. Like the amount of options you'll have and how you'll have to adapt to the metas, and it's awesome. I love the detail that they're going into.
By the way, Cheney always wins.
Haney always
Did
wins.
I
Oh
tell
yeah.
you my sister and I we hadn't seen each other in a while, and she's like, "Hey, you want to play rock paper scissors?" And she didn't know I knew about Cheney, so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna Cheney," and then tell her about Cheney, and she was thinking the exact same thing. So we both Cheneyed at the same time, and we just had a good laugh about that.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't
Anyway,
know what the chaining is. Wait, hold on.
it it's
how do you do the
it's a
chaining?
it's a motion that you use with one hand to represent your displeasure with other people.
Oh, I see.
There you go.
I think I can figure out what that is then.
There you go. Yeah. Anyway, so with all that, they've also mentioned a bit about the weapon sway when you're running. So, as they previously mentioned, wherever your gun points is where it's going to shoot. It's not always going to be center screen crosshair. So when you're running a bunch, your gun sways a bunch, and when you suddenly stop, it's still going to be swaying a bunch until you calm down and catch your breath. So that's going to shoot your aim off. And then you also have you can calm your breathing and force it. So they're going to have a button that forces you to calm down and breathe and hold your breath, that type of thing.
Oh,
all,
okay.
all of which made me super excited. Frankly,
That's
I'm
yeah,
like,
that's
so
similar
it's
to Call
not
of Duty.
it's
Yeah.
not like jumping around 360 no scoping because you'll probably get shot by the guy who's patiently sitting there with his aims and sights. It's
Right.
more tactical, real world that way.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then they moved to I forget which studio was next, but they were talking about essentially the well, this might have still been then. They were talking about the zero G push pull system, where it's all
Yeah.
going to be procedurally generated, and like when you run towards something, you're going to press off of it with your hands. When you land on something and you want to jump up, you're going to like squish down with your body and then spring back up. So it'll look pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that was still a phonic.
Yeah, I think so too. Then they cut to another studio, which I forget. Mining concept artists are working on showing what's happening during mining. So they've kind of talked a bit about it, but they want to give you an actual thing for the programmers. Okay, this is what the lasers are going to look like. This is what the tractor beam is going to look like. This is what it's going to look like when the rock breaks up. So that they have
Yeah.
kind of an idea of how to design this stuff.
Yeah, I believe this is the Austin office. Pretty
Yeah,
sure.
that sounds right. And then they're also doing a redesign of the Nick Stellamar Levski landing zone, which is going to be their third of their initial five landing zones. So
Awesome.
yeah, this is pretty cool news because
That's
the other
yeah.
two are what Terra and ArcCorp.
Yep.
So this is the third announced where we're going to be hanging out soon. Then they also were doing the starting the concept on the NPC clothing sets, so that will give a better variety. So it won't be everybody walking around in cargo shorts and gray pants or whatever.
No more cargo shorts.
No more cargo pants. Dude, I totally want cargo pants. If I'm gonna be running around, I
I
want
know.
pockets. It makes
I know.
total sense to
Seriously.
me. Yeah.
I want like nothing but pockets on my pants,
Yeah,
like
I'm gonna have a
on my
backpack that I
thighs.
always carry. I'm gonna have a vest with pockets. I'm gonna have a coat
Right.
with pockets over the
Right.
vest.
Right.
You know?
On my shins.
Yep.
On my forearms.
Bandolier
I don't
across your
even care.
chest. Yep.
Right.
Totally. Then we go to our favorite segment.
Ah,
I don't even want to introduce it anymore. It's made me
I
so
don't.
sad.
I don't know.
Bug
Let's just rip the band-aid off.
Smashers.
Let's do it.
Bug Smashers.
Bug
So
smashers.
this one was a Mustang physics bug, and the beginning was him photoshopped into a picture of him with Maroon 5.
Is that who that was? I didn't even know. I was so not paying attention. I was like, I don't know who these people are, and I don't care.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad you knew.
You just made me sad that I know that. Okay.
You, you should feel bad.
You are bad and you should feel bad. All right. Well, and then, so let's talk about the bug. So essentially, this bug had what boils down to zero instead of a one or one instead of a zero, which was messing up their Boolean value and causing their code not to be accessed because it failed a Boolean value. There's the programmer version of it, short, succinct. See how much time I took with that, explaining
Good
it?
job. No,
Yeah.
good. I like it.
And then they cut back to Ben and Sandy finally, where it was Sandy's flight school is going to be back next week, and apparently she's learning to use weapons this time. Hopefully, she looks a
Hooray.
little more enthusiastic than she did when she was learning to fly. Because she did not look like she was that enthused. Just like, oh, okay, whatever.
Deal with it, Sandy.
Deal with it, Sandy. We're gonna make you a pilot yet.
Heck.
Then they had their MVP segment where they talked about Fiendish Feathers Pieces of 8 video, which I actually saw before they mentioned it. I was like, oh, I saw that video. It was
Yeah,
really good.
that was really good.
For anybody who hasn't seen it, it's pretty awesome. It's a pirate ship. I think it was a Cutlass that attacks a constellation that's flying through some asteroids, and then like
Yeah,
they board it and start shooting people, and it's really cool actually.
yeah,
So
it was really good. Yeah, it was one of my more favorite like fan made videos in
yeah,
engine.
for sure. Very, very, very cool video.
Yeah,
Then they did an interview with Ken Fairclaw, who's an environment artist, and he was talking largely about how they concept everything that they work with and make it look good and blah blah blah. You know, this
yeah,
is how it all styles together. He also mentioned that they do have style guides that they try and go with, where they've got architectural styles, and right now I think they said that he has like maybe three or so, but they're definitely going to expand that. And they will change with cultures and planets and species and so forth. So that'll be, it's a lot of work and it's unappreciated work largely. So I'm glad that they're highlighting it
yeah.
because, there's definite difference between games that have environmental artists and that stuff and games that don't. And there's a huge quality difference between those two. So there you go.
Right, I'm right there with you. Exactly. I mean, the game has to have a style, a je ne sais quoi, if you will.
Oh,
That
fancy
I
French
know.
term there.
Yes,
Good
that
job.
that just draws you into it. I mean, there's like the best example I can think of is like Cowboy Bebop, where it just has this coolness about it that just draws you in regardless. For the most part, unless you're a fuddy duddy who lives under your couch. But like,
I'm shaking my head at, of course, you mentioned Cowboy Bebop.
it's the best thing I can think of, where it just,
It's the
you know,
only thing you can think of. Let's be
it's
real
true.
here.
Well, that's true. But
Continue.
this, yeah, style really matters so much. Like, another thing I can think of is like a lot of shows that I like have like really good like music that just adds to the show. Like the show could be really bad, but if the music's really good, it can mask a lot of the badness of the show. So in a similar respect, if the art and style of Star Citizen is really good, which so far it has been, then that can mask, some of the underlying issues that might
Gameplay,
normally
etc.
cause,
Yeah.
right, a lot of QQ or that kind of thing.
That
I'm not
said,
saying that it
the most
should,
important
but
thing should always be gameplay and if it's fun or
yes.
not, frankly. So,
Yes, you're
yeah.
exactly right. But the style adds to that, is
Yeah,
what
for
I'm trying to
sure.
get at. Yeah.
Like, you don't want to play with a box that has a little dot that shoots out of it, and that's your ship and that's your weapon. It's things
You
like
don't know
that
me.
matter. I
You
do
don't know
know
me.
you. I know you better than I know anybody else in this world except for
That's true.
myself.
That's true.
I do know
And you
you.
might and you and you might know me better than you know yourself.
That is true. I am a mystery wrapped in an enigma, wrapped inside a paradox, enforced
That's
within
not
a
a
paradigm, constructed
that's not
by
yeah.
little garden gnomes.
Directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
That is much better than garden gnomes. I've given it that. All right.
Yeah.
It's got a
Boom.
twist at the
I
end,
won
guys.
got
Shocker.
one in this week. Yeah.
Well, and then up next they had customer service, which is now 2 weeks behind. So thanks to that, they're like, we need help. So they're going to be adding a new position. Um,
In the UK.
as they're getting about 1,000 new
Yeah.
issues each week. Which, oh my god, those
Poor
poor,
girls.
poor girls. Well, at least they're getting swag as gifts too, though. So, and they showed some of the swag they were getting, which was pretty
Yeah,
decent swag.
I almost felt like sending them stuff just because I work in like customer support type stuff as well.
I thought
And
the
I'm
same
like,
thing because I used to work in customer support. I'm like, I
yeah.
feel their pain. I just want to send them like a cake or something.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like gift certificates to like a local massage place. Like Jesus, that what they have to put up with. Ugh.
Send them Kenny G CDs.
Kenny G. Here's some smooth jazz. They like use it as a coaster. They're like,
Thanks. If I could, I don't know how old they are because then I'd send them alcohol if I know they're all over 21. I assume they are. I don't know.
I would think so. Yeah.
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 Well, and then we've got that might make for some interesting customer service email responses. Uh, anyway, then they did their top 10 bugs, which were pretty hilarious. And I gotta say that their top bug number one, it looks like a monster creature
I know.
walking out. I was like, oh my god, what is that? And then
The
I
first thing that
realized,
came to my mind was the crab people episode of South
crab
Park.
people,
I know.
crab.
That's all I could think of. Although my personal favorite was the one where the dude like crouched in front of the stairs and
And then
then
he
like
went flying.
rocketed himself through the
Yeah,
wall.
that was awesome. And then he just kept flying too. It was like, that doesn't seem right.
That was so good.
Yeah.
I like that they're actually highlighting this. Like it shows they have a really self-aware sense of humor.
Dude,
That
like,
they're like, yeah, this is all fucked up, but it's funny.
that's why I'm saying the format of this Around the Verse was the best of all of them.
Yeah,
Because they're
I'm
adding
right there
stuff
with
like
you.
this. Hopefully they
Yeah,
keep it up.
I
But,
agree.
with this also goes up the production quality, which means they gotta spend more time on it.
And the
So,
videos are longer, and that
yeah.
means our podcast is longer. And
Yeah.
sorry, people who have a life.
Eh. Lives. Whatever.
Right.
Then, for our art sneak peek this week, we previewed it with a teaser earlier. New Holo Table sexiness.
Uh, uh,
And then
uh.
I have in parentheses as a note, thank fucking God in all caps right
Yeah, I might have
after
put
it.
that in there. Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
you?
That was me.
I could have sworn I wrote that too, because I certainly thought it really hard as soon as
I thought I was so happy. I was just like, yes, thank you, yes, thank God. I cannot stand the current Holo table. I just hate it. I hate it so much.
Thank you, St. Roberts, for this bounty you have provided.
Oh man, I'm gonna if the new Holo table is good, like if I ever have kids, my firstborn's middle name is Christopher. It's done. It's set.
I hope you have a daughter.
Oh God. I
Samantha Christopher. Get over here.
and worship your God, Christopher Roberts.
You have like a framed photo above the table with like lighting backdrop.
Yes, and, like candles in front of it and like a halo around his head.
Oh God. If somebody's really good at painting, I will pay you like. No, I'm not gonna say how much. I'm gonna. Never mind.
Yeah,
I'm not opening
don't
that
offer
can of
me.
worms.
Nope.
I'm
Nope.
just saying, as a suggestion, you should paint Chris Roberts in Halo format, put a really nice frame around it, and send it into him, so he can show it at the next 10 for the chairman.
That'd be genius. Just make sure you give us credit for the idea.
Yep, yep,
All right.
yep.
That's
Honestly, I don't even care for credit. I would be happy enough to see it. Like,
fair.
I don't even care about the credit. I just want to see it.
That's fair.
And then I want him to put it above his desk. So it's in every subsequent episode.
Right above his bagel model. Like
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Uh,
My God.
oh my God.
Well, and then right after they did that, it cuts back to Ben and Sandy, and then like they were talking about something, and I hear the door shut in the background, and you just see Sandy's face.
It just furrows. She's
It was like,
"Arr."
I'm gonna kill him.
Well, fortunately, that probably won't be a problem once they get into their new space and have the studio.
Yeah. She's like, we're filming, guys, come on.
Yeah.
You can totally know that was all running through her head.
But
So.
they could totally edit it, so they totally kept it in there on purpose, just to,
Just to keep her face of pissed
Right.
off look.
exactly.
She covered it like almost immediately, but you could still see it. She's like, God,
She's a pro. Yeah, she's a pro.
pro.
But yeah,
So that's
Oh,
an
man.
inside joke.
Yep, we're done.
We're
Yep,
done.
we're out.
We're out.
Fail.
Well, then,
Fail.
last thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was Chris Roberts speaking at the 2015 Dice Summit. I know you didn't get a chance to watch it, so I'm just going to summarize it. Really, he didn't like touch on anything he hasn't talked about a million times before in previous speeches. Essentially, he's trying to convince all these developers at Dice and CEOs of gaming companies that, hey guys, maybe it's time to take a little different approach to how you make games. you know.
Yeah.
So he mentioned, different approach to development, publishing, the benefits that you get from something like this, where you're getting rid of all those middlemen, as well as, then working towards more community engagement with your publishing to make it a better game overall. And, he continues on and elaborates. It's about 22 minutes. I watched it, but I didn't feel like I got anything new out of it. So if you've previously seen speeches of him talking about Star Citizen and why he loves the game and so forth, you've probably already heard all his talking points. So
Right. I mean, from what I briefly read about it was, okay, he basically came up there and said, "Hey, here's what we're doing. Here's why it's good. If you know like even like 10% of what Star Citizen is about, like you pretty much understand what he's talking about."
yeah,
And I thought it was kind of funny. The only thing that stuck out to me was the people who are watching it are like, why aren't they applauding more when he's like talking about stuff and doing stuff? And somebody replies, because they're all developers and he's ruining their game model. Like,
Yeah, it was a really quiet audience, I have to say. Like
yeah,
normally when he mentions stuff, there's like, ooh, cool, yeah. But
oh yeah,
this was like dead silence, polite clapping at the end. You know.
yeah. So I thought that was kind of funny. That was the only thing I like read about it briefly because
Yeah.
I didn't really care to watch. After I read about it a little bit, I was like, I don't really want to watch this.
Well, and
But
frankly, I don't really recommend anybody watch it unless you are really into TED style talks, I want to say, where
yeah,
eh, it's not one of his best speeches, and frankly, it's stuff we've heard before. So that's my quickie review of it. Um,
fair enough.
then last thing we're going to talk about related to Star Citizen is the Empire Report. They had on their website Lynch fever outbreak. So this is a
Yeah,
disease that has broken out on a planet, and they've quarantined it, and they're talking about the implications and all that stuff, and sending goods and relief supplies, etc. And had kind of an interview with a doctor who mentioned what to do if you're uh, showing symptoms and so forth, which they had mentioned previously they're going to
yep.
do diseases in quarantine, so it's nice to get kind of a view. I wonder if this is going to be like interviews in game too that you can watch on like your TVs and stuff.
That would be cool. A B. I believe this came out of either last week or the week before's 10 for the chairman, where somebody asked about diseases and how would it affect planets, and I think they
Right.
clearly thought, hey, this is a pretty cool idea. So yeah, planets can be quarantined, but so they'll need certain types of goods. So you're allowed to go to special sectors that are reserved on the planet. So you don't
Yeah.
get you don't interact with any of the population. You just deliver your goods and then leave, and you can make
Plus,
money doing that. And there'll be blockades around the
yeah.
planet. And if you're like a pirate, you could try and break the blockade or outlaw, I guess you could call yourself, do that kind of stuff. So I thought this is a cool lore post following up on a really good question from a
Yeah.
previous 10 for the chairman.
In general, I was really happy with the route that they went this week, where they're trying to make the news that they give relate more in game,
Yeah.
and it's such a good idea, and it fits
Yep.
along with their model.
Exactly. I hope they continue to do it.
Well, moving on to non-Star Citizen stuff, we had a couple of video games listed here that we'd started playing. Heroes of the Storm. I
Yep.
recently picked it up, and it's like League, but more tactical based, not as much individual skill based. I'd
Right.
say
Yeah.
still pretty skill based, but I have fun playing it. I enjoy
I
it.
I really like it.
Yeah,
I
I
think it's
like
a
the
lot of
fact
fun.
that it doesn't have the equipment
Yes.
leveling system, and instead it's all skill leveling and perk leveling.
Yeah, well, I think I mentioned it a long time ago that I got into the alpha, and I had
Yeah,
played some of it, and then some friends of mine had recommended me to play it some more. So I said, all right, I'll give it a go again. And especially after our friend Doctor Insaniac got into the beta,
yeah,
he's like, hey, I want to try it out, and I'm like, yeah, I'll play it with you. And I actually found myself having a lot of fun playing it. Um, I really like the way that you build your character via perks instead of items.
yeah.
I find that to be very interesting. And while it is somewhat more limiting in a way, it's also really interesting in a way because there are so many different paths you can take in this
Hmm.
game. So like I want to say for each character, I mean there's like you know like four like five or four to the like fifth choices you can take. So it's a huge number of paths you can take. So it's really cool.
Well, in general, like map awareness and overall map control seem to be even more important than they are in League. So,
Exactly. I mean, a
yeah,
lot of this game relies on you paying attention to what's going on and being smart instead of just being able to last hit really well because last hitting doesn't matter.
yeah,
And just you have to know what's going on the map. You can't win just sticking in your lane and trying to like push your wave or whatever.
right. Well, and then you have listed here Panzer Corps.
Yeah. So this is I don't know if you remember the old Panzer Dragoon games.
A little bit,
Um,
yeah,
Yeah, so old turn-based World War II strategy games. This is a modern like remake or retake on that game. It's almost identical. If anybody ever played Panzer Dragoon, um, this is a direct descendant of it. It has a lot of the same terminology and a lot of the same stuff, but there's a lot of new stuff in it as well. I really like this game.
Is
I
it
think
on
it,
Steam or where'd you get
yeah,
it?
it's on Steam. Yeah, Steam, $20 US on Steam.
Okay.
I think it's really fun, hex-based, turn-based combat with a lot of interesting wrinkles in it. My coworker actually recommended it to me, and I decided to check it out, and I'm really happy I did. I'm really liking this game, and it has multiplayer and all kinds of cool stuff, so it's a lot of fun. Highly
Nice.
recommend it if you like World War II combat, like turn-based combat kind of
There's
stuff.
so many World War II games out there too.
This is
Oh,
one of the best, yeah. Yeah.
nice. Well, it's like I always enjoyed Company of Heroes and Company of Heroes 2 for
It's a
strategy
very good
World
game.
War II. So,
Yeah, those are very good games.
yeah,
And this one is a little different, but still very good.
nice. Well, in movie news, I went and saw Kingsman, which
Yeah,
I immediately upon seeing went on Facebook and said, "You guys should see Kingsman." So I thought it was a good movie. That's all I'm gonna say about it because I don't want to spoil it. But
yeah, we
the
briefly
act,
talked about it, and
yeah, the action's really good. Um,
good.
the plot is kind of a standard plot, but at the same
Yeah,
time, it's a fun movie. So go and see it. Yeah,
I will definitely have to check it out. I wanted to see it, and now that you enjoyed it, I'll definitely see it.
yay.
Yay!
Well, and then I had this friend of mine who did something super nerdy over the weekend too.
On Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day, yeah.
I might have built the Lego B-wing model, the Ultimate Collector Series One. Number
Nerd.
seriously, it's Lego number 10227. You can Google it on Legos or Google it. You don't Google
Legos.
things on Legos sites. I know Legos.
You know what the
Legolas'
problem is? You're
site.
saying Google and Lego in
I
the
know.
same sentence. That's just
I
gonna
just like
mess you
try
up
to
so hard.
portmanteau them. I'm like, all right, let's just do this. No. So on Lego's website, you can just type in the number 10227. It'll bring up the model number and show you all the specs and all the parts and all that. Anyway, it's about a 1,500 piece set. Um, it measures about a little over 2 feet long, a little over 1 feet wide, and just under 1 feet in width. So that gives you a pretty good idea of how big it is. It's
and,
huge.
and tell them how long it took you to make.
Took me about 9 hours. Um,
And
that's not including like breaks to like make food or do other
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Like, and I
Relax.
did, yeah, exactly. I did screw up once, and it was an easy fix, fortunately. But overall, actually, I was really impressed with Lego's guide for it. Like, it was very straightforward. It was very obvious. Like anything that I might have like been like, I don't really know where that piece is supposed to go. They did a good job of very, showing you where it really should go.
Right.
So I was super happy that I got it. I love the set. It's still sitting on my coffee table because I'm just like, I, it puts a big smile on my face every time I walk into my apartment
Dude,
and I see it there. And I'm like, oh, I
this is
love you.
this is why we need to have kids right here. This is why you need to have a Samantha Christopher so that I can play Legos.
I like how you remembered the name that we came up with my for my firstborn daughter.
Because it's a weird, hilarious name, and it makes me laugh and
It's
smile.
funny. What's funny is her initials are SC.
SC. Ah! Ah!
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god, this has to be a thing now. Oh, I apologize to any wife of Paper Thin in the future
Yeah.
who regrets the day this occurred and
Just
will
get that
kill
out of the
me.
way
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
This will be
Oh my
great.
god. So good. Yeah, but yeah, it's a really cool model. So I'm pretty sure I put the picture of the box when I first got it on our Instagram account, which we should probably link to that in our description.
All right.
And I'll try and put up some more pictures of it. I took a bunch while I was making it, so I'll try and get them up there. I just wasn't real thrilled with the quality of the pictures because I was using my phone to take them, and they take decent pictures, but not great. So I was thinking about trying to borrow a camera to take better ones, but
No,
maybe
no
not. I don't know.
1080p high res,
Yeah, not so
blah blah
much.
blah.
Yeah, not so much.
Uh,
But they're decent. They're nice. And so we'll put them on our Instagram, and people can look at them on there if they want. It's a really, really cool set.
nice. Man, I want Legos.
I know.
It's not
Yeah, I
fair.
was. It was so fun.
I took my brother, like when I visited him down in the state where he lives,
Yeah.
I took him a bunch of Legos and stuff like that, that
Nice.
were his from our childhood.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his daughter is too young to be playing with Legos yet, but
Yeah.
one day.
Right.
So
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, Legos are such a fun thing. Even
they're
when
the
you're older,
best
they're
toy
fun.
ever. Let's
Yeah.
just face facts.
Totally agree. I don't
Best
care
toy
who
ever.
you are. Yeah. Exactly. They're great. They never get old.
And well, enough about Legos. We should just like have a Lego banner. Warning: we talk about
Everything is
Legos a
awesome.
lot, and everything is awesome. Yep. All right. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Flight Deck. We will catch you guys next week.
Lego.